Hello there and welcome. So glad you're here. Today we are going to tackle a big one, a question that floats around in the back of so many people's minds. What is the real deal with alcohol when you're trying to conceive? We're going to cut through all the noise, dive straight into the science, and figure this out together.
Okay, so let's just get right into it. The rule for when you're pregnant is super clear, right? No alcohol. We've all had that drilled into us. But what about that tricky time before you see a positive test? The weeks, the months you're trying, it can feel like this massive gray area. Is a glass of wine with dinner okay? What about a beer with friends? That's what we're here to figure out.
For so many of us, having a drink is just normal. It's how we celebrate a birthday, unwind after a long week, or just catch up with friends. It's woven into the fabric of our social lives. But, and this is a big but, when your goal is getting pregnant, we have to gently push the social habit to one side and look at what science actually has to say about it. And this, right here, is the absolute heart of the matter. Just because something is common, just because everybody seems to be doing it, does not automatically make it harmless for your specific goal. When the goal is creating a new life, we have to shift our perspective and look at what's actually happening on a biological level.
So let's get down to brass tacks. From a purely biological standpoint, your body sees alcohol as a toxin. Now, toxin sounds like a really scary word, I know, but all it really means is that it's a substance your body has to work hard to get rid of. And in the process of breaking it down, your body creates these byproducts that are, well, inflammatory. And the first place they hit? Your gut.
This brings us to the main villain of our story today, inflammation. Yeah, seriously. We tend to think of a drink's effects as, feeling a little tipsy or maybe having a headache the next day. But what's really happening is a chain reaction, a cascade of inflammation that spreads throughout your entire body. And it all starts with that one drink.
It really is like knocking over a line of dominoes. The first domino is the drink itself. It tips over and disrupts the delicate lining of your gut. That disruption triggers the next domino, a low-grade chronic inflammation. And this isn't just a tummy ache. This is a signal that goes everywhere, affecting all sorts of systems in your body that you wouldn't even think are connected.
And here's where it becomes so critical for fertility. Imagine your body's communication system is like a perfectly clear phone line. Inflammation is like a ton of static on that line. It creates noise, interference, and it can seriously confuse the very precise, very delicate conversations that need to happen for your reproductive system to work properly. All right, so let's follow that static and see where it causes the most trouble. We're going to zero in on one of the most important pieces of the entire fertility puzzle, ovulation. And believe it or not, the story of ovulation, it starts in your brain.
So deep inside your brain, you've got this little area called the hypothalamus. I want you to think of it as mission control for your hormones. It's this incredibly smart command center that's constantly listening for signals from your body, trying to decide if it's a good and safe time to launch the mission, which in this case is ovulation. For that to happen, it needs to hear those signals loud and clear.
But remember that static, that inflammation? It basically hijacks the system. It storms into mission control and creates total confusion. The hypothalamus gets these mixed signals and can't do its job right. This can actually block the release of two absolutely essential hormones, FSH and LH. Without those, your ovaries don't get the message to mature and release an egg. The end result? A higher risk of anovulation, which is a fancy word for not ovulating at all. And of course, if you don't ovulate, you can't conceive.
So you're probably wondering, okay, how much are we talking about here? What does this look like in the real world? Let's talk about a specific number that pops up in the research. 3. Just 3 plus.
That's the one. Research has shown that having as few as 3 standard drinks a week is linked to a significant drop in the chance of conceiving in any given month. And let's be honest, for a lot of people, 3 drinks a week doesn't sound like a lot at all. That could be a couple of glasses of wine with dinner over the weekend. But the data is clear. Even that amount can make the road to pregnancy longer.
And now, for what I consider the most important hook of this whole explainer. If alcohol has an impact when you're trying naturally, what happens when the stakes are higher? When you are investing thousands upon thousands of dollars, incredible emotional energy, and so much time into fertility treatments like IVF? Well, my friends, the data here is absolutely jaw-dropping. But before we even look at the numbers, we have to get this one thing straight. Fertility is a team sport. It is not just about one partner. The health of the egg and the health of the sperm are both absolutely fundamental for success, and both are affected by what we eat, drink, and do.
I'm going to say this again because it is so incredibly important. Any alcohol consumed by either partner in the single month leading up to an IVF cycle. This isn't about blaming anyone, it's about understanding that this is a shared effort with very real consequences. This chart just lays it all out, and it's stark. On the left, you've got the outcomes for couples where one or both partners drank in that month before the cycle. On the right, the couples who didn't. You can see it clear as day. Couples who drank had fewer embryos develop, they had lower pregnancy rates, and, this is the most important one, they had a significantly lower live birth rate. That's the bottom line. That's the chance of actually bringing home a healthy baby, which is the whole point of everything.
Okay, let's all take a collective deep breath because that was some really heavy information. But I want to completely pivot now because here's the good news, and it's really, really good news. This is one of the few things in the entire often unpredictable fertility journey that you have 100% control over.
So what does this look like in practice? Well, when you make the choice to stop drinking while you're trying to conceive, you're not just taking away a negative factor. You are actively doing amazing things for your body. You are lowering that inflammation we talked about, you're giving your gut a chance to heal, you're helping your hormones communicate clearly, and you are directly, tangibly improving your odds of success. I really want you to let this sink in. This is a powerful mindset shift. You are not depriving yourself of a glass of wine. You are prioritizing something bigger. You're prioritizing your health, your goal, and the family you want to build. It's not a sacrifice. It's an act of empowerment. And hey, let's get practical, because social events can feel awkward. Here's my go-to pro tip. Just order sparkling water with a slice of lime or lemon in a nice wine glass or a cocktail glass. It looks festive, it feels special, and, honestly, no one will even notice or ask any questions.
And what if they do ask? You just need one simple, powerful sentence in your back pocket. I'm not drinking right now for my health. That's it. It's polite, it's true, and it closes the conversation. You don't owe anyone a detailed explanation of your personal journey.
So, this is where we'll leave it. The science is pretty clear. The inflammation that comes from alcohol can throw a wrench in the beautiful, delicate hormonal dance required to make a baby. Knowing that you hold the power to quiet that noise, to clear that static, and to directly improve your chances, the only question left is, what will you choose to prioritize?